How to emotionally detach from a man who no longer values you. When a man stops valuing you, something inside you starts to break. It's not sudden, it's gradual. You start noticing how his tone changes, how he no longer looks at you the same way, how messages that once came instantly now take hours, sometimes days. You tell yourself he's just busy, that it's just a phase, but deep down you already feel it. He's slipping away. And the worst part? You keep trying to hold on to something that's already gone. You replay old memories like they're proof that he once cared. You reread conversations that used to make you smile, trying to find that version of him again. You give more, hoping he'll see your worth again, but he doesn't, because the more you chase his validation, the less he values you. This is the invisible trap so many women fall into, the emotional loop of giving, waiting, forgiving, and hoping. You start believing that maybe if you love him enough, he'll come back emotionally. But here's the hard truth. The moment you start fighting for someone's attention, you've already lost a part of yourself. Detaching emotionally from a man who no longer values you isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about remembering who you were before his approval mattered. It's about reclaiming the power you gave away piece by piece. Because right now you might think you're losing him, but in reality, you've been losing yourself for a while. The truth is, emotional detachment isn't coldness. It's clarity. It's the decision to stop begging for what should be freely given. It's the quiet moment when you finally say, I deserve peace more than I need his presence. You're not weak for loving deeply. You're human, but love without respect turns into self-destruction. And no matter how strong your feelings are, they can't save someone who has already decided you're not a priority. So today, this video isn't about how to get him back. It's about how to get yourself back, how to rebuild your emotional independence step by step, how to stop feeling anxious every time he withdraws, and how to finally free your mind from someone who stopped valuing you long before you even noticed. Because emotional detachment is not about indifference, it's about self-respect. It's about understanding that you can still love someone and decide not to let that love destroy your peace. You can miss him and still move on. You can care and still choose yourself. So if you've been feeling trapped in a cycle of waiting for him to change, if your days are filled with overthinking, replaying moments, and trying to decode his silence, stay with me. Because what you're about to discover might be the turning point your heart has been begging for. There was a time when you felt alive around him. You remember how it started, how his attention felt like sunlight after a long winter. Every message made your heart skip a beat. Every compliment made you believe you were finally seen for who you are. You opened up, shared your fears, your dreams, your childhood stories. You gave him access to your soul. At first, he matched your energy. He made you feel safe. He said things like, I've never met someone like you, and you believed him. You started building stories in your head, imagining a future, picturing him in it. You thought this was the love you had been waiting for. But slowly, something changed. The messages became shorter. The conversations felt forced. He stopped asking how your day was. The warmth in his voice faded into indifference. One day, he forgot something important to you, and instead of apologizing, he blamed you for expecting too much. And that's when you started questioning yourself. You wondered if you were too emotional, too demanding, too intense. You began shrinking yourself, trying to be easier to love. You tried to say less, ask for less, feel less. You started walking on eggshells, afraid that speaking your truth might push him further away. You told your friends you were fine, that things would get better. But deep down, you could feel the disconnection growing like a silent storm. You were still there physically, but emotionally, he was already gone. Then came the confusion. Some days he'd act like he cared again. He'd say something sweet or text you late at night like before, and that tiny spark of hope would light up again inside you. You'd think, maybe he just needed time. You'd convince yourself to hold on a little longer. But those moments of warmth became rarer, replaced by long silences and cold distance. You began realizing that what you missed wasn't him. It was the way you felt when he still valued you. You weren't chasing love anymore. You were chasing validation. You were chasing the version of him that no longer existed. That's the hardest part about emotional detachment. It doesn't happen because you stop loving him. It happens because you finally accept that the person you loved isn't showing up anymore. You start realizing that love without effort is just memory. And memories, no matter how beautiful, can't build a future. You start seeing patterns, the apologies that never come, the excuses that sound the same, The way you justify his distance to your own heart, saying, he's just tired or he's under stress. But the truth is, you can't fix someone's lack of effort with your constant understanding. It takes one painful realization to begin the process of detachment. He stopped showing up and you kept compensating for both of you. You loved for two. You cared for two. You tried for two. And that's why you're exhausted. Not because love hurts, but because carrying a one-sided connection drains the life out of you. Now, it's not about blaming him. It's about understanding what kept you there. Maybe you stayed because of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear that no one else would love you the same way. Maybe you stayed because you confused comfort with love, routine with connection, or potential with reality. Whatever the reason, it's time to face the truth. You can't heal in the same place where you were emotionally neglected. Detaching doesn't mean you stop loving him. It means you start loving yourself enough to stop accepting emotional crumbs. That's the beginning of emotional freedom, realizing that you deserve reciprocity, not resistance. Emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's not a single decision. It's a daily act of self-respect. It's waking up each day and choosing not to let his silence control your emotions anymore. But to truly detach, you need to understand what's happening inside you first. Because detachment isn't forgetting him. It's freeing yourself from the illusion that his love defines your worth. The first thing you must understand is this. Your brain gets addicted to emotional highs and lows. When a man values you one day and ignores you the next, your mind becomes trapped in a cycle of seeking approval. That unpredictable pattern activates the same chemicals as addiction. It keeps you craving his attention. You start mistaking anxiety for passion. That's why letting go feels impossible. You're not just missing him. You're fighting your brain's addiction to the emotional roller coaster. The way to break that cycle is through awareness. When you feel that urge to check your phone, to stalk his profile, or to reread old messages, pause. Take a deep breath and name what you're feeling. This is anxiety, not love. This is withdrawal, not destiny. Naming your emotions weakens their control. It's your first step back to power. The second step is emotional separation. You must learn to separate his behavior from your value. When a man stops making effort, it says nothing about your worth. It only reveals his capacity to connect. But we often take rejection as proof that we're not enough. You start replaying everything, wondering what you did wrong. But you didn't cause his indifference. You simply stopped matching the version of love he was capable of giving. Remember this truth. How someone treats you is a reflection of them, not of you. A man who doesn't value consistency, loyalty, or emotional depth will always make you feel like you're too much. But that's not a flaw. It's your sensitivity trying to connect with someone emotionally unavailable. The third step is rebuilding your self-concept. Detachment doesn't work if you don't have something stronger to attach to. Yourself. Start by remembering who you were before him. What made you smile? What made you curious? What gave you peace? The goal isn't to distract yourself, it's to rediscover yourself. Your identity cannot revolve around someone who's no longer showing up for you. The moment you rebuild your routines, your mind begins to detach naturally. Wake up, move your body, read, talk to people who make you feel alive again. Repetition builds new emotional patterns, and those patterns become freedom. The fourth step is acceptance. Not the kind of acceptance that says, I'm okay with what happened, but the kind that says, I no longer need an explanation to move on. Closure doesn't come from him. It comes from you deciding to stop rereading the last chapter. The more you search for reasons, the longer you stay stuck in confusion. Acceptance means understanding that some stories don't end with clarity. They end with growth. And the final step is emotional discipline. Because healing isn't linear. You'll have good days and bad days. You'll feel strong one morning and broken again the next. That's normal. But you must stay consistent in your choice to detach. Every time your mind says, text him, answer with silence. Every time you feel the urge to check his social media, remind yourself, my peace is worth more than my curiosity. Emotional detachment is a muscle. It grows through practice. At first, it feels impossible. Then one day, you wake up and realize you didn't think about him the entire morning. You realize his name no longer triggers pain but indifference. That's when you know you've reclaimed your power. Here's something most people never tell you. Detachment isn't about winning. It's not about showing him what he lost or pretending to be unaffected. It's about freedom. It's about walking away not to punish him, but to protect your peace. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not to fight harder for love, but to finally surrender the fight that's been breaking you. When you detach emotionally, you stop waiting for apologies that will never come. You stop measuring your worth by someone's inconsistency. You stop needing validation to feel seen. And in that silence, when you finally stop chasing, you start hearing your own voice again. You realize that love isn't supposed to make you feel anxious, unwanted, or small. It's supposed to make you feel safe, understood, and respected. If you don't have those things, what you're holding on to isn't love, it's attachment. And attachment fades the moment you remember what you deserve. That's what detachment really is. Remembering what you deserve every single day until it becomes impossible to accept anything less. If you don't learn to detach from a man who no longer values you, your mind becomes your own prison. You start living in emotional survival mode, always analyzing, overthinking, replaying. You begin to shrink your personality, silencing parts of yourself just to keep him close. You start apologizing for things that aren't your fault, begging for attention that should have been freely given. And little by little, you forget what peace feels like. That's what emotional dependence does. It convinces you that love is supposed to hurt. It makes you addicted to uncertainty, teaching your nervous system to confuse anxiety with affection. You wait for a message that never comes. You replay his last words. You wonder what you could have done differently. And every unanswered question becomes another chain that keeps you stuck in a story that's already over. But here's the truth you need to face now. Staying emotionally attached to someone who's already detached from you is a slow form of self-abandonment. You keep choosing him over yourself day after day without even realizing it. You think you're being loyal, but what you're really doing is sacrificing your own mental peace for a love that no longer exists. There's a silent danger in that. The longer you stay emotionally tied to someone who no longer reciprocates, the more you teach your brain that neglect is normal, that emotional starvation is acceptable. You start believing that the bare minimum is love. You start lowering your standards just to keep from being alone. And that's how women lose themselves, not all at once, but piece by piece. You start feeling tired all the time. You stop recognizing yourself in the mirror. You used to be confident, radiant, full of energy. Now you feel anxious, restless, waiting for validation that never comes. You tell yourself you'll leave when you're ready, but that day keeps getting postponed, because hope becomes the drug that numbs the truth. But hope, when misplaced, becomes poison. It keeps you tied to someone who's not even reaching out. And every time you go back, you reinforce the cycle. You give him power to control your emotions without even asking for it. If you don't break this cycle, your mind will continue to live in the past, replaying moments that don't match your current reality. You'll start missing the person he used to be, not realizing that the man you loved doesn't exist anymore. He was a version that served a moment, not a lifetime. You need to understand something crucial. Detachment isn't optional, it's survival. Because the more you hold on to someone who's not holding on to you, the more you disconnect from yourself. You start betraying your own needs just to feel chosen. But you were never meant to beg for love. You were meant to receive it naturally. And the longer you ignore this truth, the higher the emotional price becomes. You'll wake up one day and realize you've wasted months or even years trying to prove your worth to someone who stopped seeing it a long time ago. You'll realize that you gave him the best version of your love while he gave you indifference in return. But here's the thing. Pain will keep repeating itself until you learn the lesson it came to teach you. Life will keep sending the same type of man until you finally decide to break the pattern. Detachment is the moment you stop trying to fix what was never broken in you and start healing the part of you that keeps settling for less. This is why urgency matters. Because every day you spend waiting for him to change is another day stolen from your peace, your confidence, and your future. Every time you delay your healing, you delay the life you're supposed to live. You cannot move forward while looking backward. You cannot attract respect while chasing indifference. You cannot rediscover your value while trying to convince someone to see it. Detaching emotionally isn't cruel. It's necessary, because staying attached to someone who devalues you doesn't prove your love. It only proves your fear. And fear is not love. It's the cage that keeps you from it. So the choice is simple, even if it's painful. Either you keep waiting for him to care or you start caring for yourself. You can't do both. One day you will look back on this version of yourself and feel proud. Not because you didn't feel pain, but because you finally stopped letting that pain define you. You'll remember the nights you cried over his silence, the mornings you woke up hoping for a message that never came, and you'll realize that all of it was shaping the woman you were meant to become. Because every heartbreak carries a hidden purpose. It breaks the illusion, not you. It wakes you up from the dream that someone else's love is the key to your happiness. It forces you to turn inward, to find the strength you once searched for in someone else. Detachment doesn't erase the memories, it just removes their power. It teaches you that closure isn't something he gives you, it's something you create for yourself. It's when you stop asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" and start saying, "He simply wasn't ready for someone like me." And that shift changes everything. Because once you see your worth clearly, you can never unsee it again. You begin to notice who actually adds peace to your life and who only brings confusion. You start realizing that love should never make you feel like you're competing for attention or begging for consistency. You stop romanticizing potential and start honoring reality. You stop trying to prove your value and start living it. You stop looking for love that drains you and begin attracting love that feels calm, mutual, and steady. When you finally detach, something magical happens. You rediscover yourself. You laugh differently. You sleep peacefully. You enjoy your own company. You feel lighter, freer, more in control. Because now your emotions no longer depend on someone else's behavior. They belong to you. And here's the most powerful truth. When you stop chasing love, the right kind of love finds you. Because real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. It meets you where you are, whole and healed. So, if you're listening to this right now and still holding on, take a deep breath. Don't hate yourself for loving someone who couldn't love you back. You did your best. You gave your heart honestly. That's not weakness, that's courage. But now it's time to redirect that courage toward yourself. Close the door gently, not with bitterness, but with dignity. Thank the experience for teaching you what self-worth really means. Then walk away, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally understood that you deserve to be cared for too. Because the moment you choose peace over pain, self-respect over waiting, and growth over nostalgia, that's the moment you finally set yourself free. Now it's your turn to reclaim your power. Start by doing something today that reconnects you with yourself. Whether it's journaling, taking a walk alone, listening to music that reminds you of your strength, or simply breathing deeply and saying, "I'm done chasing what doesn't value me." Every act of self-love you take from now on is a message to the universe that says, "I'm ready for something real." You don't need closure from him. You need commitment to yourself. And once you have that, you'll never settle for less again.